Brooke. I'm Miss Overstreet.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I just want to talk to you about a few things. I heard that you were having some issues with time management. I've heard you got a new job, and you've got a lot of stress on you as far as your grades, keeping your grades up. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that today. Is that okay, Brooke? Also, what I want to do today, Brooke, is I'm going to be taking some case notes. I'm going to go ahead and put your name. And what I'm going to do with these case notes, nobody will see this but me. And of course, you while I'm writing them. And that way, so next time we talk again, or, I'll remember what we talked about, or I can be working on some things too, but nobody will see this.
Okay.
And anything that we talk about today, Brooke, will be confidential. Nobody will know, but us, unless, of course, if you're trying to harm yourself or someone else. But I think in this situation today, I think we're going to be okay what we're going to talk about. But nobody will know, Brooke. Nobody.
Okay.
And I'm going to take some notes so I'll know what to talk about and what we need to do next time, if that's okay with you. Okay, thank you, Brooke. Okay, but first of all, I want to go ahead and make sure that I have everything written down. I got me some notes here already, Brooke. And I want to know basically what has been going on. I know you've been under a lot of stress with your grades, with you're working, you have a job, and just being able to function as a student. Would you mind sharing with me, Brooke, what's been going on?
Well, I've always been at the top of my class, and so it's kind of getting to a point now, you have to pick what school you're going to and stuff like that. And so there's a lot of money that comes with being valedictorian and going to JU and stuff.
Oh,
and
wow.
so I put a lot of pressure on myself because it's a full ride. And on top of everything, I decided to get a job. I don't really know what I was thinking, but I knew I wanted some money. And so it's a new experience because I've never had a job before. And so working at Chick-fil-A is definitely a new experience. And I'm not very good with change and getting used to things and adapting, but I'm slowly getting there. And it's not really like my parents that put stress on me or anything. It's just myself that I put a lot of pressure on. Because I'm very, competitive. I want to be the best. Stuff like that.
Well, I see where you're coming from with this, Brooke. There's a lot of seniors now that are going through that because everything's so competitive with the colleges and the grades. And what are some things you think that you could do to help you with time management? Because you're trying to juggle a job, you're trying to juggle grades. What are some of the things that you feel like you could probably do to make it a little better for you as far as your time management?
What I've done is I've kind of made like a big checklist that it's on my wall. And it has like, when I call and get my schedule for work, I write the times that I work. And then I just make all of the stuff that I have to do for school and stuff. I work around that schedule, like if I work Tuesday and Thursday, which is my schedule now, then I'll make sure on Monday and Wednesday I dedicate like a couple hours to get all my homework done for the week,
Oh, I like the idea of the checklist. That's a very good idea. And as far as stress-wise, Brooke, how are you handling all this stress? Is there anything that you're doing to relieve stress? Is there anything that will help you to relieve stress? I mean, what are you doing to help you with that to get through this time?
I've been kind of just hanging out with my friends, and trying not to think about it. Like, I know it's important, I've got to think about it, stay focused if I really want it. But I've been trying, that's not the only thing. It's not going to be the end of the world if I don't. I've just been, life is going to go on if I don't get it.
Yeah, you're right, Brooke. But have you thought about, just say if you didn't meet the graduation requirements for valedictorian, how would that make you feel?
Well, I feel that I have tried my best, and I wouldn't really worry, as long as I did my best, that's all that matters to me, and that's all that matters to my parents, And so I just feel like as long as I've tried, I wouldn't be happy with myself if I just gave up.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know some people, because my friends are in the running against me, it's a friendly competition. And so, if one of my friends got it, I would feel happy for them because, I know how hard they've worked and they know how hard I've worked,
And well, that was actually what I was getting ready to ask you, Brooke, how you would feel if one of your best friends made it, or one of your good friends made it over you. Would you be able to really accept that and be okay with it? Because you are so competitive. How would you handle that?
I mean, I would be fine with it, because as long as they've tried their best, they deserve it just as much as I do, we're all equal, and so I really don't see a problem with it.
Well, that's a very good attitude. And have you ever, I know this is your senior year, but have you ever come, as you were coming up through school, had to deal with something similar? I know not valedictorian, and I know you didn't have a job until this year, I believe. Have you ever had to deal with other things similar to this as far as or school-related stress? Maybe middle school or when you first came to the high school?
When I first came to high school, it was a really stressful experience because my freshman year, my grandmother got cancer and stuff like that, and so it was really hard to keep up with schoolwork, because they lived next door, my grandparents did, and so it was hard to watch it. And then she passed away, and so it was really hard to keep up with schoolwork, and because it's hard to juggle your family life versus schoolwork. And so I'm proud of myself just for being able to keep my grades up and to be in the running for valedictorian with all the other stress that's going on with like family and stuff.
With all that going on, and when all this was going on, Brooke, how did you deal with that kind of stress at that time in your life? How did you deal with it?
Really, I just look to my family, for help because they know what I'm going through, They don't know about the school and the morning, but they do know about the morning, and they have been through school before, And it's just, looking to my family because they're there to help me, They're not just going to throw me out and say...
Say on your own, huh?
Yeah.
Because that's a hard time when you lose a parent or a grandparent. It's a very hard time. And it's a hard time trying to keep yourself focused on school and things that you need to do every day when you're concerned about that. And, of course, that leads me to another question, and I think you somewhat answered it, but I want to ask you again, Brooke. How are your parents working to help you with what's going on in your life now, with your job? You're working toward valedictorian, which that is very stressful, because when you're competitive, you want it. That's something you want really bad. What are your parents doing to help relieve stress or to help you work toward this goal?
They've really just told me, that I've done my best and that they're very proud of me, no matter what happens, they're still going to love me the same if I'm not valedictorian,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they've let me know, that money isn't a really big issue for school, Yeah, the full ride would be nice because that's a little money that, that I get for graduation I could save up for other things, but, they've kind of just told me, it would be nice, but it's not the end of the world if you don't get it. And they just kind of showed me, you have to set your priorities straight, right. And it's not just about that. There's a lot more things that are ahead.
Oh, yeah. And even with your job, how are they helping you? Because while you're trying to work and while you're trying to keep up your grades, are they maybe doing some things at home that helps you while you're out? In other words, you're away from home more with your job. Are they doing other things to kind of help you out, or maybe the family or a sibling if you have one? Or
they've really, if I need some laundry done or something, they've helped me. And it's kind of been like I haven't had like a lot of chores growing up in the house. It's just been, hey, could you give me a hand with this real quick? Stuff like that. But they've kind of, they haven't really said, you have to do all your chores and you have to work and you have to do this. I think slowly they've trying to help me grow up. It's not just, because I was kind of scared, to turn 18. I'm an adult, if I get in trouble, they could treat me as if I'm an adult.
Because you're an adult, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And so, but they've really been working with me, and slowly getting me out in the real world and stuff like that. And they're just very helpful. If they know that I'm tired, they're going to let me sleep. They're not going to be like, you have to do this and this.
So you do have that support system at home. And that means a lot to students. There are some students that do the same thing you do, and they don't have that support system.
Yeah.
And that makes it a lot harder, so you're very, very blessed to have a support system like that. And back to the valedictorian, because I know that's something that you've been really concerned about. Is there a particular class that you feel like you are maybe a little worried about, or that you might need extra help in, or that you feel like it's a little overwhelming? Is there a class that you're feeling that way about? Right now?
The class has ended now, but I took college algebra.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm good at math, and I'm in calculus, but I struggled with college algebra. Like, I had to dedicate, 3 and 4 hours of studying and all that stuff. And so I was really happy to get an A and stuff. And I was really stressing out about it. But then it was one of those things, my parents were just like, you need to calm down, because if your nerves get to you, then you're not going to perform as well. That's right. And stuff like that. And it's just, trying to stay focused.
Stay focused. That's good advice right there, staying focused. And I found it funny how you said college algebra was giving you maybe a little bit more difficulty than the calculus, because based on what I know, calculus is hard. So the algebra you felt like was just a little bit more challenging than the calculus you're doing now?
Yeah, and it's funny because you use algebra in calculus, which was,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I did take it online and not
Mhm.
actually in a classroom setting, but I figured, since I had calculus that I would be okay. I mean, I did well in the class. I
Mhm.
mean, my professor would email me, you did really nice and stuff like that, but I don't know, I just stressed out about it.
Yeah, that was just something that really
Because
stressed you out.
tests, we only had like 3 tests, and they were worth 60% of your grade, and so it was very,
Oh, wow, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, very nerve-wracking, it sure is, but it sounds like you handled it very well. Teachers, back to your classes, because I know that's some of your stress level right now. Teachers, are they being supportive for the most part? And I know we won't mention any names, but I just want to make sure the teachers are doing what they're supposed to do to support you and be there for you to help you with these classes.
They are, but then sometimes I think, sometimes they don't really understand how much it means, because
Mhm.
sometimes they've been out of school for so long, they don't really know what it means to me. They don't necessarily know, how bad I want the money
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And so I think it's more of a personal thing, I mean, they can see, that I want it. They can see my other friends want
Oh,
it
yeah.
and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't really think they can, be a support system, I don't think they're, trying to keep me from being that, but I think they're just trying to, to make things difficult.
Mhm.
Just to kind of build some character, keep trying,
That's right,
you're so
yeah.
close, don't give up,
Don't give up.
My parents make the comment, don't let your foot off the gas, just keep
Oh, I
going
like that.
full
I
throttle.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I like that, and I'm glad your teachers are being supportive. And I was just, like I said, I was hoping they were all doing what they were supposed to do for you. And you said there's money involved in valedictorian, which of course, when you're going to school, that's a big part of it. Now, like I said, well, hopefully you will get that and you'll be able to move on with that. But are there any other scholarships that you're applying for or would like to apply for to help out financially with your college? That would maybe even take more stress off of what you're doing right now.
I applied for one. It was the Okefenokee
Mhm.
Electric
I've heard of
Company.
that. I've heard of that.
And
Mhm.
I did receive that one, which that was like $1,000.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
and then,
nice. Yeah.
There are some other ones that I haven't heard back yet,
Mhm.
but I did apply for those, and they
Mhm.
were like $1,000
Oh, wow.
as well.
And you haven't heard back from any of those yet?
Not yet. And then this morning I mailed 2 of them out,
Mhm.
scholarship applications.
And you're waiting for those too.
Mhm.
And do they base that on your GPA and your FCAT scores and ACT scores and things like that? Is that how
Mhm.
they judge?
And then they look at how involved you are with the school.
Community hours? Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I put a lot of things on there about Beta and NHS, just
Mhm,
being and a lot of that is leadership too. They really like leadership,
Oh, yeah.
because if you're a leader in high school, then you're probably going to be a leader, in college.
That's very true. That's
And so-
very true.
And I've had several interviews with some scholarship committees and stuff,
Mhm.
and it's been nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But I feel like
yeah.
it's actually helped me,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel pretty confident in interviews now because when I went for an interview at Chick-fil-A, I was like, I've got this.
That's right. And the more, or see if you agree with me with this, the more you interview and you get around people, do you feel more confident?
I do, because I feel, I'm a capable person.
Mhm.
If I'm at the top at my school, then that makes me feel confident,
Mhm.
that, okay, I'm the top of my school
That's right, yeah.
and these students, so I'm probably just as good as the top at the other schools, and I feel like I've been prepared well.
Oh,
and
that's wonderful. That's
so-
wonderful. And even with when you went to interview for your job, so you felt the same confidence you did when you were in school, or how did that make you feel before you went for your interview?
I was really, really nervous,
Mm-hmm.
but I just kind of, let my personality show, because it's not necessarily what you know, it's kind of how you react to things
Mhm,
and your
mhm.
personality and if you're a good fit, because I've seen many times, people, they get a job, they're not necessarily the brightest or the best at that, but their personality, it just meshes well with other
Oh, you better
people.
believe it. You better believe it. And I feel like, based on some things that you told me, that you've got a little bit of everything. You're very well-rounded. And so I could see the confidence level in you. And I just want to go over a couple more little things before we end it, Brooke, because I'd like to meet again if that's okay.
Yeah.
I've written down some case notes and some things that's going on, and I want to make sure your stress level is going to improve as far as
Yeah.
your work and your with all your clubs and your valedictorian. But what I'd like for you to do, which you've already started doing, you said you're starting a checklist. And I would love to see your checklist, whenever we meet again. If you can keep with your checklist and let me know, or if you'll even write maybe in a little diary, like when you feel really stressed about something, like maybe like if you're getting ready to go to work, for instance, and you know you've got a pile of homework and you're thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to do all this, Even if you just wrote down stress because I have homework tonight and I have to work. Or if maybe some other obligations have been put on you, would you keep like a little diary or write down by your checklist? Because what I'd like to do when we meet again, if you'll bring that and we can kind of discuss those issues to make sure everything's, working out better for you.
Yeah.
But Brooke, I appreciate your time and we'll meet again, and thank you so much, baby. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.